T-minus 9 minutes and counting.
TLS auto sequence has been initiated.
CISL, go ahead.
Recorder activation complete.
Copy all.
This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 8 minutes, 38 seconds and counting. The launch team verified that the inner door of the White Room was not secured, but it's not a concern for launch. The crew has been briefed, all polls have been taken, and we are go for launch at 7:55 p.m. Eastern Time here at NASA's Kennedy Space Center.
TLT OTC, connect essential buses to the fuel cells per your checklist. TLT's in work. OTC, TLT, essential buses connected to the fuel cell. Copy that.
TLS is go for orbiter access arm retract.
And Endeavour OTC, have a great flight delivering Leonardo to the space station. The legacy of his discoveries rides with you as you continue the quest for knowledge. Godspeed. Endeavour copies all. Thanks, OTC.
The orbiter access arm has now been retracted away from Endeavour. It's the walkway used by the crew to enter the shuttle and can be returned to the position within seconds if necessary.
JRPS OTC, start APU display recorders.
JRPS copy. Recorders are running.
TLT OTC, perform APU pre-start. TLT's in work.
It's T-minus 6 minutes, 9 seconds and counting. We've received notification from Mission Control in Houston to start the orbiter flight recorders. The two recorders collect measurements of shuttle systems performance during the flight for playback after the vehicle is in orbit.
OTC, TLT 3, great talkback. Copy all.
TLS is go for orbiter APU start.
TLT OTC, perform APU start. TLT's in work. CDR OTC, reconfigure heaters.
We have a go for APU start. The launch team has terminated liquid oxygen replenish to the external tank. It is now initiating LOX drain back.
OTC, TLT, 3 good APUs and heater reconfig complete. Copy all, thank you.
TLS is go for purge sequence 4.
T-minus 3 minutes, 50 seconds and counting. The engines are being gimbaled into position for launch.
TLS is go for ET LO2 pressurization.
PLT OTC, clear, caution and warning, memory, verify no unexpected errors. OTC, PLT, no unexpected errors.
T-minus 2 minutes, 24 seconds and counting. The gaseous oxygen vent hood is slowly being retracted away from the top of the external tank.
Endeavor OTC, close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow. That is in work.
T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
TLS is go for ET LH2 pressurization.
Liquid hydrogen replenish on the external tank is now being terminated. T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds. All systems are go. We're about 90 seconds from launch of Space Shuttle Endeavour. T-minus 1 minute and counting.
TLS is go for auto sequence start.
T-minus 26 seconds. We have auto sequence set.
20. 15. 10.
TLS is go for main engine start.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Space Shuttle Endeavour, preparing our home in space for a larger international family.
Houston now controlling.
Houston Endeavor, roll program.
Roger, roll, Endeavor.
Commander Chris Ferguson confirming Endeavour is rolling on course for a rendezvous with the International Space Station. Speed 1,000 miles an hour. Altitude 1 mile. Downrange distance 6.5 miles from Kennedy Space Center already. Three engines throttling down to 72% of the rated thrust as the shuttle goes through the realm of maximum aerodynamic pressure. Altitude 5 miles. Downrange 8 miles from Kennedy Space Center. Speed 1,500 miles an hour.
Endeavor, go at throttle up.
All systems remain go. Speed 2,000 miles an hour, altitude 10 miles, downrange distance 12 miles from Kennedy Space Center. It's 1.5 minutes since launch. Endeavour has consumed more than 2.25 million pounds of propellant and weighs less than half of what it did at launch. Standing by for burnout of the twin solid rocket boosters and jettison. Booster officer confirms a clean separation of the two solid rockets. Endeavour's 3 main engines continuing the second stage, accelerating with 37 million horsepower. Endeavour's 2 orbital maneuvering system engines firing now to help boost the shuttle into orbit. They'll fire for 1 minute and 36 seconds. Altitude 440 miles.
2 engine TAL.
2 engine TAL.
That call means Endeavour can perform a transatlantic landing at Zaragoza, Spain if required. Speed 4,000 miles an hour. Altitude 44 miles, 73 miles from Kennedy Space Center. Three minutes, 30 seconds into Endeavour's flight. Speed 4,900 miles an hour, altitude 53 miles, downrange 115 miles from Kennedy Space Center. 3 good auxiliary power units, 3 good fuel cells, 3 good shuttle main engines.
Endeavor, negative return.
Negative return.
That call indicates Endeavour is going too fast now to return to Kennedy Space Center for a landing if a problem should arise. Just under 4 minutes to the main engine cutoff. During that time, Endeavour is going to triple its speed to reach the 17,400 miles an hour needed to reach Earth orbit. Current speed 6,000 miles an hour, altitude 62 miles. 3 good engines, 3 good auxiliary power units, 3 good fuel cells. Watching live television pictures from a camera mounted on the external tank of Endeavour. Altitude 66 miles, downrange 245 miles from Kennedy Space Center. Speed 7,300 miles an hour.
Endeavor, press to ATO.
Press to ATO.
Endeavour could now reach a lower than planned orbit, but a safe orbit on just 2 engines. Speed 8,000 miles an hour, 11,000 feet per second, altitude 67 miles, 300 miles east of Kennedy Space Center.
Endeavor, single engine Ops 3.
Single engine Ops 3.
Endeavour could now perform a transatlantic landing on only 1 engine at 109% of rated thrust if required. Everything going well. Endeavour rolling to a heads-up position now to assist its performance and communication links as it climbs to orbit.
Single engine Zaragoza 104.
Single engine Zaragoza 104.
Endeavour, press to MECO.
Press to MECO.
Endeavour traveling 10,000 miles an hour, and the shuttle could reach its planned orbit on just 2 engines if necessary. Just under 2 minutes to main engine cutoff now. Altitude 66 miles.
Endeavour, your shutdown plan is nominal. Go for the +X.
Shutdown plan nominal. Go for the +X.
Commander Chris Ferguson getting the go-ahead for the +X maneuver, in which he will manually raise Endeavour's nose into a +X position to allow handheld photography of the external tank using digital cameras on the...
Endeavour, single engine press 104.
Single engine press 104.
Speed now 13,000 miles an hour. Downrange 590 miles. Altitude 64 miles. 3 good main engines, 3 good auxiliary power units, 3 good fuel cells. Endeavour's communication signals now being processed through the tracking and data relay satellite system. Speed 16,000 miles an hour, altitude 64 miles, downrange 760 miles. Booster officer confirms main engine cutoff, standing by for jettison of the external tank. Receiving live television pictures as Endeavour falls away from the external tank. Continue its climb to orbit. Speed 17,400 miles an hour. Altitude 67 miles, downrange distance